guys, so we are going to be doing similar figures again, but this time in our workbooks, okay? So make sure that you go to page 545, all right? Okay, so let's see what page 545 is all about. Actually, go to page 546, okay? So let's go see what this is all about. So if you watched the video yesterday, then you know a little bit about similar figures. And yesterday we put in our notes these two things, right? So if two polygons are similar, then their corresponding angles are the same, right? But the measures of their corresponding sides are going to be proportional this time, right? So that means you make a fraction, okay? So let's go look at example number 1. I don't know if this looks familiar, but it should, right? And so we just did the same thing. 7 over 10, does that equal 3 over 6? And the answer to that was no. Okay, let's go try the got it at the bottom of the page. Okay, so we're going to see if these sides are going to be proportional. So let's go set up those fractions. Okay, so let's see, 8 and 12 are going to go together. This 6 and this 8 are going to go together. And then this 6 and this 8 are also going to go together. Okay, so let's go make some ratios out of those. So let's see, 8 over 12, is that going to equal 6 over 8? Or is that going to equal the other 6 over 8? Okay, so we really only have to do this the one time. We don't have to do it twice. But let's see if that's what we get, okay? So remember, there were two different methods that we could do. One of them is just reducing the fractions and seeing if they're the same. The other one was to actually do the cross products. And I think I want to do the cross products for this one. Okay, 12 times 6 is 72. 8 times 8 is 64. And since those are not the same, they're not similar. Okay, so no, they're not similar because the ratios are not equal to each other. Okay. All right, over on the next page, they talk about scale factor. And so this is the one where, remember, we had to go set up the fraction and we had to do a little bit of like reducing and see what we get, okay? And so here is a picture, and it looks like on this picture, side AB and side WX are going to be similar to each other, but they both aren't labeled. So we're not going to do anything with that one. Here's an M. Well, here's a 12, but now we still don't have two numbers, so we can't do anything with that one. Here's a 13. Here's nothing. And so it looks like we're going to do the 10 and the 15. Okay. And so that's what they did down here. They put the 15 over 10 and saw, okay, that it had a scale factor of 3 over 2. And then once you do that, you can go multiply to go find that missing side. You can go multiply 12 times 3 over 2 and figure out what M is. Okay, so let's go do the got it at the top of the page, the next page. Okay, so the first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to figure out, hey, what is the scale factor? And then we can go find those missing sides. Okay, so let's go do it again. So I went from 10 to 15. So what happened, right? So what's my scale factor? So 15 over 10. That's going to reduce. I can divide both sides by 5 or divide both numbers by 5. And I'm going to get a 3 over 2 again. So I know my scale factor is 3 over 2. Okay. And now I want to go find what is WZ. So what is this side right here? Let's label it with an X. Okay. A little X. So let's go see if we can find that side. So we're going to take our 13 and we're going to multiply it by 3 over 2 because that's our scale factor. Okay, and we end up getting 39 over 2. 39 divided by 2 is going to be 19.5 or 19.5. Okay, all right, let's go figure out what AB is, side AB. So this side. Okay, so same thing. So this time it's going to be a little bit different because this time I don't know what number to multiply by 3 over 2 to figure out what to get for 24. Okay, and so I don't know that number. So what times 3 over 2? is going to be 24. Do you remember how to do fractions? What do you do with like the times 3/2, right? We're going to divide by 3/2, but what do you do when you divide fractions? Do you remember? Hopefully you're thinking that you're going to do the keep, change, flip thing, right? So we're going to do 24 and we're going to multiply by 2/3, okay? Right? We keep the 24, we change this to a times, and then we flip this fraction over. All right, so 3 goes into 24 8 times, and so 8 times 2 ends up being a 16. So this side is 16, okay? All right, let's go work on the guided practice page. So at this time, it's probably going to be best if you pause your video, okay? Go try to answer these questions, and then come back when you're done, unpause your video, and check to see if your answers are correct, okay? And that's actually what I'm going to go do right now. If I can figure out how to pause it. I can't figure out how to pause it. Hey, so I think that we're back. My video is gone, but that's okay. Let's go check our guided practice. I'm hoping that you paused it and then filled this out. I do want to show you a couple of things really quickly. First of all, I did a couple of things a little bit differently this time, and so I wanted to show you that. So hopefully you got a no for number 1, and you got a yes for number 2. Don't forget about this important piece about explaining, right? So why was it a no? Why is it a yes? Okay, and then I wanted to show you number 3 because I did this one a little bit differently. So number 3, the two triangles are similar. Remember the transformations, the one that you need to make sure that you include this time is the dilation, okay? But here's what I did different. Remember in the video from yesterday how I showed you to set them up like a proportion and to keep things lined up? And so that's what I did for this one, for number 3. So I know that 6 and 3 go together, right? This 6 and this 3. And then 6 and x are on the same triangle. And then x and... I'm sorry, 6 and 3 go together, and so 6 and x are on the same triangle, they're across from each other. And then 3 and 6 are on the same triangle, so they're across from each other. Totally got a little sidetracked. I was watching the cat for a second. None of you get sidetracked, do you? And then when we did this one, right, I did the same thing so that I was just able to cross multiply and then go divide it out and get my answers of 12 and 4.5. Okay, so let's go down. Let's look at number 4. Same thing. Again, don't forget about this dilation piece. You have to have that in there. And then I decided to go ahead and show you both methods. The one that I showed you in the video yesterday that I did up here for number 3, and then the one that's at the top of the page in the Got It. Okay, so it doesn't matter which one that you do as long as you're showing your steps and you know what it is that you're doing. Personally, I find this method from yesterday's video 10,000 times easier, okay? So you set up the two sides that go together, you set up the things from the same piece together, cross multiply them, and divide. If you did it the other way and you found the scale factor first, you get a scale factor of 4/5, and so then you have to say, okay, well, x times 4/5 is gonna be what? And that gives you a 6. The reason why I like this method better is that I tend to get these correct all the time. When I do this one, sometimes I get confused. Is it 4/5 or 5/4? Which one is the actual scale factor? Okay, I can tell you if you're going to do it this way, that if the shape gets smaller, remember your dilation, if it gets smaller, then that means it was a reduction and your scale factor should be somewhere between 0 and 1. Okay, and if your shape gets bigger, so if it was an enlargement, right? So if it gets larger, then your scale factor is going to be bigger than 1. And so with this, 5/4 is bigger than 1, right? Because this is 1 1/4. And this shape, notice it got smaller. So I needed to use 4/5, not 5/4. Again, if you do it this way, you're going to get it right every single time. Okay, so go ahead and give yourself a rating. Are you ready to move on? Do you have a couple of questions? Do you have a lot of questions? Give yourself a rating, and then what I would like to see you do is page 549, page 551, and then page 552. You can skip page 550, which is all those hot problems. You can skip this whole page. Okay, so just go do those 3 pages for me. Again, it's page 549, page 551, and page 552, and then we'll figure out a way to get those turned in. All right, we'll see you guys later.